Hello everybody, my name is Tim and this is another spoiler warning. So you might remember last November, towards the end of the year, I was talking about Dr. Langeskov, the little sort of 27-minute game narrated wonderfully by Simon Amstel, and how narration drives video game stories. So I thought I'd start off this year with something entirely different, and that's brought us here. We're looking at ABZû today, a game which is entirely devoid of narration, of vocal story. It's entirely visual, and I suppose musical as well. You know, there's a lot more to it than the visuals. Oh, apologies for any choppy frame rate, incidentally. XSplit doesn't seem to clear that up as well as Fraps does, and I don't have the recording space to record a whole sort of hour or so of this on Fraps. But hopefully it should be okay. If not, I don't know, close your eyes and just listen, because honestly the visuals are good, but on my crappy PC they're not that great. Anyway, yes, we are looking at ABZû. It's a game about this diver thing, and the water and sharks, and you'll see that as we go through. I just want to take a look around. So the first thing the game does is it puts you in the middle of the ocean with no context, but it points you towards an archway. It points you over here. It starts you off, you dive down, and you're pointing this way. And that's good instruction. That is all the instruction you need as a character, as a player playing this game. All the instruction you need is, hey, it's this way, pretty much. That's what it's doing, and it works really well. You know, it just sends you sort of this way. It starts you off as well in a very featureless place before it brings you here, which again is another good choice. Because it means there's no distractions in there to get you sort of looking the wrong way, except for some of the fish, and they are again all ahead of you. It does a very good job of pointing you in the right direction at the start, so that you end up in here, and the exploration can truly begin, which is a wonderful little idea. It doesn't confound you with unnecessary distraction. I suppose that's going to need one, really, isn't it? Oh no, here we go. They're both back. Fish! Come here, fish. 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 Left. Nope. Missed it. Never mind. Let's just go through the hole. And we are introduced straight away to what I would hesitantly call the villain of the first half. The big old great white, who is very scary and slightly scarred. And eels! Hey eels! I love your music. If you don't listen to eels, you should. They are very wise, a lot to say. For fish. And here we are. This is the first of the weird underwater shrines that we have to, I guess, heal? The plot, as I say, the plot is very vague in the first half. But the idea is that something has happened to the seas, I guess, and it's your job to figure out what that is, or not even to figure out what it is, but just to heal them. You are there to heal the seas, and you can do things like this, and just go under the underwater water, and then come back out again. It's a very strange game. Anyway, we get over here, and we do that, and he does this. And we give of ourselves to heal the seas. We are an altruistic creature. Manta rays! Oh my god, they're so big. I might gush a little bit about the various sea creatures and things, because they are lovely and cute and adorable. And there you have your sort of underwater water. Very important as far as waters go. Did I get it? I got it! I can ride on a manta ray. I can go whee! Can I make you belly flop? Can I make you belly flop? That's the big question. No, you dive gracefully. How dare you, manta ray? Oh, look at that. That is beautiful. Maybe not so much in my glorious 12 frames of animation that I get. But you know what? I like it anyway. Ah! Did not find this statue previously. Giant Trevaliers, you can catch those in Animal Crossing. They're worth a lot. Fuck off, I want to see something other than giant Trevaliers, thank you. Ooh, a roosterfish. You can't catch those in Animal Crossing. Most of the fish species I know from Animal Crossing. The rest of them I know from BBC's Life. Let's get on back to the giant fucking Trevaliers. I don't care. Right, give me, get me to those barred knife jaws. Unicorn fish. Oh, the dorkiest of fish. What am I up to now? More unicorn fish. No. That's another fucking Trevally. Fuck you. No! That's it. Those ones. Pilot fish. That's what they are. Would never have guessed. Whee! Where am I now? I'm with another rooster fish. Yeah. Alright. I think that's enough of that. And so this is where the story begins, pretty much. We start seeing this race of, I'd say similarly attired people, but they wear a whole lot more gold than I do. And there is a story here. We have sort of, essentially it's a story of a lost civilization who lived to protect the seas, essentially. And you are the last of their race. That's what I gather from the visual storytelling of this. I suppose that's one of the big drawbacks of visual storytelling. While it is visually impressive. Did you see that? That was so cool. Well, one of the big drawbacks of visual storytelling, as I was saying, is that it has to rely a lot on archetype and cliche, because, you know, there's no other way to really sort of tell your story otherwise. If you're not telling a cliche story, then you know, how are people know? How are people going to know what the story is about? And it's that sort of thing which, I guess, yeah, that would be the biggest drawback to visual storytelling. I mean, there are others that I could name. I've recently been playing Virginia, which, again, is a very interesting story, but it's all very symbolic, and it's difficult to know the truth of the story, as it were. The true plot, because the story it's telling is a little bit out there. At the same time, though, I've played through it twice now, I'm coming to the understanding that, one, it's not about the plot for Virginia, as again, it's not about the plot really for ABZÜ, it's about the exploration of these beautiful lands. With Virginia, it's about what does it mean to you. But that is a spoiler warning for another time. Again, Virginia is, in its own way, a very archetypal story, the story of this police procedural. You've got the new cop on the beat, whose partner is a jaded old sort of hand in the force, and she's been through it all. She's working to clear her name. It's a very cliche plot in many ways, just as this is, but you need that for visual storytelling so people will understand it. You know, if you don't have the cliche aspect, the archetypes, If you're not playing to archetypes, it's going to be very difficult to tell people this is what we mean. And I think, yeah, that's that's the biggest failing of visual storytelling, but it can also be a very strong asset because it enables you to sort of put the storytelling aside and say, okay, this is the plot. Now sit back and enjoy what we're really doing here. That's another thing that I mean to talk about as well, which is that story and plot are not necessarily the same thing. But that is... You know what, that's probably next week's spoiler warning. The plot is, the ocean is dying and we're there to revive it. The story behind that is the environmentalist message. But beyond that, it's about harmony, it's about stewardship in a way. Don't know how many of you know much about stewardship. The old religious notion that we are the caretakers of the planet. We're not just in charge of it, we're here to look after it as well. Which is always a good notion. I don't think sort of necessarily saying we are in charge of the planet, it is there for us to do with as we wish, is a great thing, because it does lead to things like overfishing and reckless exploitation of natural resources. But by the same token, you know, who's to say that it is up to people to sort of make sure these things survive? If we have evolved to become this way, ooh, I can go outside the water. If we've evolved to become this way, then, you know, other animals should adapt to keep up, or rather not adapt and just wait till we self-destruct. Ooh, that's a pretty fish. There's a lot of roots around it, and a lot of ins and outs that I don't know much about. So I'm going to stop talking before I make an utter fool of myself. I don't know, gist of it is, you know, we are the species with a self-awareness and an awareness of the planet. So, you know, what's to stop us, one, taking out of control and doing as we wish with it, and two, why should we do that when we can protect the sanctity of life and environment, and in general just help make the planet a better place? Then you get into arguments of what is a better place, etc, etc, which is why we're not going to go into it. Gosh, I wonder how much of this is actually going to go into the video. There was always those temples, that sort of mystical aspect of it, which really made me think of the stewardship angle. You know, it involves giving of yourself to help that environment grow. And that's very much what stewardship seems to be about. It's about, as humanity, making those sacrifices so that the animals, those animals, have a place to stay. And here we go. So, we're back with more of these things. The sort of, I'm going to call them the diver people, because I guess that's what they are. Now that's interesting. I don't remember that one. Something about, I guess we worshipped sharks? No, or maybe the shark got killed and we worshipped the thing that killed it? That would make sense. And then we're back to make things right. And, oh, just puts you straight into a feeding frenzy. Look at that. That is beautiful. Shoulder fish. And that is not solid as well. That's not a thing you have to go around. You can go through it. Pardon the frame rate. You can just go straight through it. Although if your computer is anything as sort of budget as mine, then it will not thank you for it. Bing. And we're on to the next bit. Right. I have no idea how far through we are, but we're going to continue for maybe another half hour. We'll see. That should be enough to... the further in you get, sort of, the more of this civilization you see, and the sort of less innocent it starts feeling as well. Yeah, and then the exploration becomes a sort of puzzle game as you find these things, and you just got to sort of puzzle out a way to get through it. And after that, you get 2 points of, you know, this is no longer underwater. You can explore the land. It gets to that stage. Anyway, next up we got this side. I like the note of foreboding in the music. There you are. I'll grab you. Grab. Yeah! Sunfish! I like my sunfishes. See? Animal Crossing. Going this way. Wobble. Wobble faster. Big wobbly thing. Manatees! This is just the big wobbly thing place, evidently. What's that noise? Did I hear that I've missed, or is that just the noise that manatees make? Maybe that's just the generic manatee noise. Oh, hit a rock. Yeah, alright, let's head this way. Oh, hit another rock. Ah. Now I believe... Yes, this is where we encounter the shark another time. Only this time he is not so interested in eating us. Through the seaweed. What is through the seaweed? Oh, it's like a little... Ah! So these were things as well that you could find, which were mysterious relics. Yeah, so you get to this temple. This temple is very much sort of dedicated to fish and these people. They are the bringers of water and life. The art on the walls really does foreshadow the direction of the story, which is always fun. It shows you the arrival of the triangle things. How they took the water power or something. This is the problem, see, with visual storytelling, is it's kind of vague at times. Hey, found another shark on which we can meditate, and I found a bonnethead shark on which we cannot meditate, and a nautilus. Oh, they're so cool. I love nautili. And a coelacanth. Oh, we're getting into some awesome things now. So yes, we are part of a race that was sort of, it brought life to the oceans. And then these big old triangle things came along. And we started worshipping them instead. And they were like, give us your life. And so we did. And that might have turned out to be a bad thing, because now we're the only one left. The implications of it are hitting me now, of did we sort of destroy our own race? Which, when you think about it, is kind of horrifying. Whales! That again is sort of another problem with visual storytelling, is, you know, what happens if your impressive visual scenery distracts from the story itself. Although again, in this case, I suppose that's less of an issue because the story itself is around these creatures. It's around, you know, we have been destroying them. How can we save them? Don't blue whale only eat krill? I'm pretty sure that's a blue whale thing. Oh my god. Look at this game! It's beautiful! It sounds amazing. It looks amazing. Oh, fuck me. There's a sense of scale to it as well. Look at that. That is ridiculous. And just suddenly you see how small you are. God, that's terrifying. Oh, darkfish. Ah, now here we are. We're in triangle territory. So just to show you very quickly what that means. These things glow a bit, and then you get closer and closer to them. And then they zap you, and it's very painful and not at all fun, and we do not like it, so stay away from them. And you see we're down here where they're all underwater vents, and it's all very dark and dingy and slightly terrifying. There's a goblin shark with glowing eyes in the distance there. God, everything is so... They really gave this game an atmosphere. Like, you know, it's not just about... It's not just about the sort of the way they've told the story through the pictures. It's about the atmosphere they've given it. It starts off with this joy and this hope and this exploration, and the further into it you get, the more like this stuff you get. The more sort of angular, technological stuff. The more dangerous it becomes as well. The more primordial. The more... I don't know, the more uncertain. I find it very interesting though that they've highlighted the sort of the sort of advancement of the technology here with very sort of primordial, primitive sea creatures. And you know, the music stopped as well. It's gone very silent. Those things are the music now. And then they die. But you know, you get closer to them, they start bleeping at you with various pitches, and there goes the shark. Vengeful shark. And we're further into the darkness. This whole bit is characterized by dark, grey and dingy, and before this we've had all the bright and vibrant colours. You know, we had that beautiful bicolour parrotfish which looks very pretty, and now we're into the deeps and darks. Everything is grey and dingy and very downtrodden. And it's become a lot more desolate. There's a sort of, it's a whole metaphor about environmentalism and things. But that's not really what the story's about. I know I said the story is sort of the environmentalism thing, but it feels to me like there's more to it than that. There's more to it than just the sort of this is about saving the planet. There's deeper meanings to everything, of course. It's the story of a race. It's the story of a race of which you are the only one left. It flips that sort of conservationism on its head and turns you into the only survivor of your species. And along with that, it tasks you with sort of giving your life to the oceans to help them thrive. It does remind me a lot of Oblivion as well, if only for gratuitous basic shapes. Oh, I'm going to watch Oblivion after this. I wasn't going to, but now I want to so bad. Go. 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 Ah! Don't go that way. What are you doing? No, you moron. Get in there. But as an exercise in visual storytelling, I think this is one of the best ones you could look at. Because it doesn't mess around with metaphor and symbolism that doesn't belong in its environment. What it does is it gives you an environment to explore, and it puts all the messages it needs in there. It knows how to build up tension. That noise is enough to build up the tension. It's beautiful. And you can see we've got the big old triangles there. Everything about it points to you, this being your fault, which again is where the ecological message comes in, and the sort of, if we don't do something about this, we're gonna die. It's very much about climate change in a lot of respects. But as I say, I think there's more to it than that. You are a weird fish, and I like you. Bing. Oh. Are you gonna have... Yeah, okay. They have taken all this life force from our people. Put it inside their creations. They have destroyed a people to build these things, to build you. And you get that context slowly through this game. And you start off in the middle of nowhere, in an ocean, and it's beautiful and it's happy, and in the course of an hour you get to this point. And that's fantastic. That's beautiful storytelling. And then there's this bit, and we have to get to the other side of it. And so that is where I'm going to leave it. That's it. That's where we're leaving it. My name is Tim. This is spoiler warning, and this has been the fantastic visual style and storytelling that is ABZÜ. I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.